Hello. On this episode of the Inventive Marketing Club, we're going to be looking at the expanded features of Chat GPT. That includes the increased speed and efficiency of the Chat GPT 4.0 model, the expanded memory that it's got, which is pretty cool, and the customer interactions and GPT bots that you can make. So before I dive in, let's just look at a very brief introduction from ChatGPT, from OpenAI, explaining the model and using the iPhone app to show how it works.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey there, it's going great. How about you? I see you're rocking an OpenAI hoodie. Nice choice. What's up with that ceiling though? Are you in a cool industry style office or something?
Well, can you take a guess at what I might be doing based on what I'm showing you here?
Now I'll let you watch the rest of the video. It's quite interesting, and as far as I'm aware, that ChatGPT OpenAI app that they're using, that version isn't available, certainly in the UK. While you can have some basic conversational interaction with their model, you're not able to do what this can do, which is to actually look through the camera live and you talk with it live. It's fascinating. But what they're introducing there is their new 4.0 model, which allows you to have a faster interaction, a bit more real time, as if a person were responding to you. And I think that's what they were trying to get across in this video. It's definitely worth a watch. It's fascinating. I mean, I've done a workshop on this recently, and I started by showing people this, and they were amazed that it really had it worked just like a person, really, in terms of the way it had a conversation. It's fascinating, really. But let's dive in and look at some practical things that we can do with the new model. Okay, so first there's just the expanded features. So previously we were using these models here, ChatGPT 4. It started with 3.5. That's the one I started using. Then it moved to 4. And then you've got this new model 4.0. Really confusing naming scheme. Why can't they just stick with numbers or something like that? It would make things a lot easier. But hey, we live in interesting times. So this is the newest model, and it's faster, it's more efficient, so it comes back quicker and uses fewer resources their end. And they've got some different versions here. In fact, these are relatively new, and I haven't tried them yet. And what it allows these additional newer models to allow to do is it can actually have more. It can have more sort of goes at what's your question. So it doesn't just answer your question once. It can actually take its response and reason over that by allowing it to basically go back to its GPT multiple times to actually come up with a better answer and reason through it rather than having that conversation with you. But I haven't tried those, so I'm not going to give much commentary on them. What I want to do is really look through the main 4.0 model, which is the one I've been using, and it is definitely faster and quicker responses, which is really useful when you are waiting for feedback. I mean, to be honest, it was pretty quick anyway, but it's great to see that getting a bit faster for real use. However, the things that I find useful are the larger memory. So this allows you to copy more data into ChatGPT, the message box here. It allows you to have longer conversations as well. So it can actually refer back to more of the conversations than it would have before. You can paste in huge documents into here if you want and get it to sort of pour through those and look through them for you. So I think that's going to be useful for a lot of people in terms of how much it's not just probing the data that ChatGPT has already learned, but you can put new data into it for it to inspect. And there's a few things I'm trialing to see whether we can put in statistical data and get it to pour through those and see what the responses come out with. I have no idea whether that's going to work, but that's my next project to try that. And so having this increased memory is going to allow me to do that more effectively. You can also put in custom instructions. Now this is pretty cool. So I'm going to give you a demo of this. To put in custom instructions. In fact, let me just backtrack a little bit. With increased memory, you would be able to have a conversation with ChatGPT. So, for example, I often use this for generating things like headline, ad text, keywords, summarizations of short paragraphs. I want to get it more tighter. I want to get it fit within a certain character size. And I'm often having to add additional bits of text to that prompt to make it more specific. So I want it to be in UK English. I want to the answers to be short. I want bullet points, so I don't want commas in there. Those sort of things, very specific requests about what I want. Now, obviously, I can add that to every conversation if I want to do that. That would work fine. And in fact, I could possibly have a separate conversation thread for each client if I wanted to do that, to tailor it for each client. But I've come up with something better that works quite well with their new customization feature. So if I just go over to my user here and go to customize Chat GPT, we can dive in there and you can see how you can customize different things. So we've got two boxes here. One is about ChatGPT understanding you and who you are, and the other is how you want it to respond. And this is the area I want to focus in really, because I've actually left it out at the moment because I want to give a little bit of a test about how that affects the response from the model. I've obviously, in the bit at the top, I've said that I'm a competent coder because I want it to assume that. I want it to know that it doesn't need to necessarily walk me through everything unless I ask it to. So let's give a little bit of a demo. First of all, I've got a couple of examples which I'm going to put in. So let's type this in. Create Google ad copy for company called Rather Emotive. Their website is. Hopefully that'll put it in. Let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so that's given us a few useful things, some headlines, descriptions, and call to actions. That would be quite useful, but it's not specific to how I want the text to be for example, Google Performance Max. So that's something I'd want to change. And I've got a prompt that I can add in at the beginning of that, which just goes through some specific things. I'll share that with you in a minute. The other area that I have to customize quite a bit is this one, and I'll put this in as well. So I'm going to put a follow-up question, provide the SEO keywords as well. There we go. Again, that's quite useful. However, often I want to be able to copy and paste those keywords directly into something, whether it's keyword planner from Google, because I want to see what the frequencies are and how often people are searching for them, or maybe even put it into Performance Max as search themes. So let's see what happens when I put my customization text in, and I will talk you through some of the ideas behind it as well. So I go into Customize ChatGPT. I will now just copy and paste in my text. There's a lot of it, so I'll see if I can talk through some of it. Scroll to the top. Now, one of the things I've found interesting in listening to other people discuss these sort of pre-prompt injections, as they're called, is that they've often added please and thank you, and they're very nice to the AI. Maybe they found those to give better responses. I often tend to add that to my requests anyway, so I thought, well, let's just put all that in. Why not? It can't hurt. So I'm saying, how would I like to respond? You are a helpful and friendly chatbot. Please follow the following instructions. I want them to assume the reader, that'll be me, has a good understanding of what we're talking about. So they don't and also that they don't, I may not be directly related to the business. So to assume that, not to assume certain things there. I want it in UK English because often it comes out with Americanizations. Provide things in short responses and use bullet points where possible. And also, I love this, if I can just copy and paste text and I don't have to keep changing it, all the better. I only want to ask questions if it needs to. I'm not sure, I haven't really fully tested that to see how it works, but so far, maybe the questions I'm asking are quite straightforward. I want it to provide plain text. I really don't want Markdown, because while Markdown's fine for a lot of things, often what I'm putting in, it's just confusing. And for those of you who don't know, Markdown is a way of adding styling, I guess, to plain text. So you can say this is a heading by putting a hashtag in front of it. Bullet points are signified with stars and that sort of thing. Look into it if you're interested. I like Markdown, I just don't want it for this purpose. Provide a website link if you're referring to a company. This is something I found often that ChatGPT, when it comes back with a response, it might say, oh, you can find that on the internet or you can Google it. No, I want a web link. Give me the web link if you have one. Use the following guides to inform your responses. So this is something that I feel, these are like my pre-injections that I would put in when I'm asking for keywords or when I'm asking for Google ad text to make sure I get just what I want. So what I've done is I put these in as guides, and this is something I'm going to expand on over time. And hopefully it can use these almost like a dictionary. It can look up the instructions of how to do this. So if I'm asking for SEO keywords, then I want them to be provided as a comma separated list. That makes it so much easier for me to just copy and paste it into where I need it to go. I want it to be lowercase just because I'm particular like that, and never use quotation marks because I think in the examples it provided, you can see there are quotation marks in there and that just causes me hassle. And then in the Google Ads text one, that's a bit more involved because with a Performance Max ad, you've got specific requirements. There's lots of detail you can put in. You've got multiple keywords, you've got headlines, you've got different lengths of headlines. So I've been very specific about the character length there. And then also, if it finds there is a website, then it should use that. It should use the link that's already provided. If not, it should ask for one. I found mixed responses as to whether it asks for a website. And then finally, at the end here, always check your results to make sure the answer is correct, and always provide responses in US English. I think I've already said that one. And a thank you at the end. Why not? So let's save that. And let's now look at let's take these same ones again. I've even spelled our company name wrong. I will put the same response in, but we'll do it in a new chat window because it only applies to new chat windows from now on. Let's paste that in. Correct the name. There we are. Create Google ad copy for a company called Rather Inventive. Their website is. Let's see what happens. Now, hopefully, it should take my information, my guides, and apply it. And it looks like it's done that. This looks pretty familiar. So it's given me 15 headlines I want with the character count. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I've asked for, and that's exactly what I would expect, which is great. And so this saves me a lot of time. I'm not having to keep asking it, or I've got this text stored in Basecamp, our project system that we use, so I have to keep copying it in. This is a lot quicker. And then the other question is to also show the keywords. So hopefully this should be a comma separated list. It is brilliant, so that makes it a lot easier. So I mean, they're just a couple of very simple examples, but these are things I use all the time to generate ideas. You know, and this, I don't use this wholesale, but it's a great starter that I can look through and sort of pick and choose the ones I like. And gets things started, which is why I really love these sort of systems, is that it just help remove that blank page. So that's brilliant. Let's take that a step further. And what you can actually do is create your own GPTs. So you can have a custom GPT that just really looks at the domain that you want it to and just focuses on that. I've only just started playing with this, so I'm not really ready to share too much with it yet, but I will show you what I've done so far, and you can see maybe how it could be useful for you. So if we go into my GPTs, I've set up this one called Rather Inventive Knowledge. Provide, and I've given a description, provide answers on everything to do with rather inventive blog articles. So here are our blog articles. We've written or videoed loads of these or produced loads of these over the years, since 2009, since we started. There's a lot of resource here, and it would be really good to have something to sort of mine through that. If not, only so we could say, get it to look through and say, well, what haven't we covered? What areas do we need to cover more? What could we cover that sort of adds on to what we're already doing? So let me show you how this might work. So if I go into edit here, when you set up a new GPT, it automatically goes into edit mode for you, but I've set this up in advance just for speed. So what I've done, here's the basic details you've already seen. You can add some additional instructions. I'm not bothered with that yet. What I have done is I've uploaded a PDF. It's just for very simple testing purposes. I've just taken this first page of all of the content we've got on here, and it's basically just the summaries of each of the articles. And I've created a PDF that just it gets the text into a rudimentary file, and then I can paste that. I can upload it straight into there. You can put multiple files in if you want. My aim would be to actually take a full dump really of all of our blog articles, and also our YouTube videos, the transcriptions for our YouTube videos, put them in here, and then it's going to be a useful resource for when Claire and I are deciding, well, what are we going to talk about next? it might be something in the future where we can release some of this information to our clients so they can, if they're looking for one of our videos, they can probe this knowledge base to find that information. Or even I can do that on their behalf to find the right videos. Because I find we've got so much stuff now, I'm actually finding it difficult to sift through it. So let's see how this might work. We've got the setup here. I've got a few questions that I tested earlier. Let's, excuse me, see how it's going to work. So first example is, let's try, what's the latest blog post? That looks pretty good, I think. Let's just try that. Go to the top. The latest blog post looks like it is ready to build a website by Louise. Brilliant. That's great. And it's got a link through to it here. Is that the correct link? Looks good to me. And the other question is, what are the articles that relate to video? Tips on lighting, audio, and video, creating an amazing YouTube channel, YouTube SEO. I'm not going to check that because I have to go through the list, but I'm pretty sure that's what we've done that is shown on that page. I mean, obviously there's so much more content that needs to go in there for this to be fully useful, but that looks about right. That is visible on the first page. Let's ask another question. I haven't tested this one. What would be the best topic and video idea to tackle next that complements already done? Let's see what it comes up with. So we've got 3 examples here: mastering video content, maximizing reach without extra work. It's got a full outline there. I didn't even ask for all of that. That's brilliant. So it's just giving me loads of information there. I mean, that would be something referring back to the customizing the Chat GPT text. I could put another guide in there. So when we're looking for examples of videos, we can say how we want that broken down. Yeah, that's brilliant. So I will just leave it there. I think it's pretty good. I think that's going to give people who are maybe just scratching the surface of OpenAI's ChatGPT just to take a little delve into these other areas. I will say that I presented an AI workshop recently, and we had a great discussion about creating brand packs for clients. So it's something I'm looking into, just like my custom text for my ChatGPT. Perhaps I can either incorporate into that, or I think there are other templates I can incorporate into ChatGPT, which I've got to look into. But I could create custom bits of text specifically for that client, which gives the information I know about that client within one pre-prompt, if you will. So we're not having to go over that information all the time. It always knows it can refer back to that client's information. It might be something I can do within here. But I thought that was a great idea, having this sort of brand pack for the client's ChatGPT, which means we're going to get the tone of voice is always going to be how we want it. It's going to know the right information. We're not going to have to keep feeding that in all the time, and it's going to help speed up that response. So yeah, interesting times. It's a very exciting platform, very useful, and yeah, go and have fun and let me know how you get on with it. Thank you very much for watching this video. On our Inventive Marketing Club, you can learn more and find all the other great episodes on ratherinventive.com/club. Maybe at some point we'll have our own chatbot on there so people can ask questions about all of that content as well. Thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye.